Like marriage is it's a partnership. You gotta realize it's a partnership. It's a business deal. Not to be cold, but it's a partnership. We're gonna spend the rest of our lives together. We're gonna spend this. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna have these kids together. We're gonna raise these children together. We're gonna make decisions together. Like so, it's a partnership. And so, in any partnership, you gotta have your non-negotiables. So I started writing those out. I was like, man, I'm gonna write my 5 non-negotiables. 5 is the number of grace. So I said, I'm gonna write these numbers, this out. And so I said the first one was like number one is I want a woman of faith. Right, somebody who is equally yoked and somebody who believes in Jesus and everything else the same way. Number 2 is I want a woman who's faithful, not just to me, but also faithful to everything that she's doing. You know, like to her friends, to her job, occupation. Of a woman who's faithful. Number 3 is I want a woman who's independent, had her own identity. Wasn't always Russell's wife or this or that. Like they had their own identity, they had their own dreams. It could be a nurse, it could be to a teacher, it could be to anybody. But obviously, see on stage doing a 1-2 step and leveling up and everything else. But it didn't have to be that. But it was just somebody who had their own identity, who wanted to be volunteer work, whatever it is. Like they want to have something they're dedicated to. Number 4 was I wanted a woman that was going to love me the way my mom loved my dad on his deathbed when he was at his lowest. My dad used to always say, "Son, your mom's going to be able to take care of you." And the 5th thing is I wanted a woman who would tilt the room. When she walked in the room, all the furniture would slide her way. And because of who she is and the woman she is. And so I prayed about that. I remember, me and Judah, we went to church and I prayed about that. I wrote it out. I wrote it actually on a napkin at dinner as we're sitting there eating a steak dinner. I wrote it out on a napkin and we prayed over it. 3 days later, I meet C. And when I walked in the room and I saw, little features 9 months at a time or whatever, and he crawls in my lap, and it was like, this is going to be my responsibility. God, I remember leaving that night and God saying, God said, saying to me, raising this child, this is going to be a responsibility. And realizing that, pray to God, you sure this is what you want me to do?
Mom of 7, and I'm 33.
Okay.
With being a mom of 7, do you think that a woman of multiple children is still capable of finding someone?
So you made a decision after being on this planet for 33 years to let this one man impregnate you 7 different times. And somewhere in your brain, you told yourself that I'm going to be able to get a man of status after this. A man that's going to actually want to come in and deal with 8 different personalities. He's going to love me. He's going to have money. He's going to take care of 7 children that I had with this one man who is all they know because that's their father. But no, you can come in and dictate everything in this household. Like, really? So we want to live in fantasy land now? I don't know why some men, they call themselves men, don't want to hold women accountable, and then they wonder why it's a strong community of women that actually support the madness. It's because men that actually are standing up and don't want to hear the madness and don't want the women to be doing the madness. We have men out there that love to cater to these women so that they can keep being in this dysfunction. The person that loves to do this is the one and only Boyce Watkins. And yes, we're going to understand, just like with Russell Wilson, how he had to settle. Let's go to the backstory.
TRJ K. Williams, something like that, right? They say every black woman would have a man if they picked a man from their friend zone, right? And this is something that a lot of men say, look, hey, most men that you wanted to marry are, you already met them already. And because of your inexperience, you messed up. You blew it, right? This is not uncommon. So what has happened with this? Dr. Boyce Watkins has responded in kind to the post. And he said, the real Boyce Watkins, this is from my friend Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. What do y'all think? I can say that my wife and I married out of our friend zone, and I personally appreciate the fact that she's a woman who, unlike others I met in the last 15 years, knew me before I had any money. Let me play Dr. Boyce Watkins and him trying to give advice on how to be pretty much choosing a stepdad. Let's play that. We go into a situation where a person has kids. It has to be the right situation. So I am not a person to say every, blended family is a good situation for you. I think you have to vet it out. Here are the factors you got to pay attention to when it comes to dealing with somebody that has kids. These are the things I thought about when I got with Alicia. First question is, what kind of kids do you have? Like, if they're disrespectful and completely, that's not going to work, because at some point, I'm going to want to one of your sons up and kick his ass, and that's going to get me in trouble. So that's not going to work. Your kids have to be well behaved. 2, are you backing me up? Are you backing up my authority? Meaning that if I come in and I say, we need to discipline this child, are you going to respect that? Or are you going to give me constant pushback and constantly protect, ridiculous, hurtful, harmful behavior? If you're in that category of my baby can do no wrong, well, that's fine. Then you and your baby can just be single and live your little life, and I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm not going to go into a situation where I have to take responsibility and not have any authority. I need some level of authority if I'm going to take responsibility. So that's important to understand. The third thing you look for is how many daddies are we talking about? Because every daddy you add into the equation, or every baby's mama you add into the equation, you got another variable you got to deal with. I think if there's like 2 or 3 daddies, that's a big strike that you have to be mindful of, and I hate to say that. I know somebody might, I know how things happen, right? Sometimes you just end up in that situation or whatever. But if it's more than one daddy, I think maybe it depends on sort of, the worst thing in the world is like a crazy daddy who insists on being involved. So you're not just but you're a present asshole. Like, you're right in the middle of everything. You're judging things. You're trying to pull rank. You're trying to, force issues or whatever. If you're an asshole, I would prefer you just not be there. Like if the father is as good as dead, like if he's just literally gone, and I can take over and kind of do it the way I want to do it, then that's great. It's like, cool. Like, okay, I can love this child as much as my own. I can mentor, raise this child. I love that. I've done that. I've done that with children that are in my life to this day. They came to my wedding with their father. One of my guy children, her father, unfortunately, he passed, and the other one, her dad is. I met him. I know him, but he's not really. He was never really active, and he thanked me for doing the job that he did not do. I don't respect that. I didn't understand that. I was like, well, why was I doing your job anyway? But I didn't care. It's like, great, you're out of the way. We can do this, right?
Not only is Boyce Watkins the type of ninja that no man needs to listen to, it's the fact that he basically just told y'all in plain sight that that's what he always was designed to be in life, was to play the role of stepdaddy. So as a man, you want to listen to this so-called man who just told y'all in plain sight that he was designed to be a stepdaddy? He never once said that he wanted to create life for himself and create a legacy. He been playing stepdaddy for a long time. But we're going to see how his wife exposed him in 4K.
In question, it appears that his wife is more like, okay, if you look at it, it appears that she is really paying attention to Willie D than Boyce Watkins, all right? And that's what I want to talk about and give my opinion on. But before I do that, let's talk about what some other guys on the post had some things on. That music looks like she's Willie D. Other guy goes, same thing I've seen. Yep, she all up on cousin. Another brother goes, all right, see, same music. I respect voices of women for what he brings to our community. But when it comes to women, he really is fake. The way she's looking at Willie D, so disrespectful to Boyce Watkins. Exactly. And another brother goes, bro, I said the same thing. She's not even holding this man's hand. Another brother goes, goddamn, disrespecting the state. She's biting her bottom lip. And another brother goes, I mean, I thought I saw something fishy, but I figured maybe I was tripping. Another brother goes, nah, bro, you're right. You're on point.
Boyce Watkins is really looking very sassy after just getting married to his wife, and she all cuddled up with Willie D. Like, the fact that he has the galls to come out and tell any man what they need to be doing in their relationship when your whole wife is out here looking like she got married to Willie D and not you, and you looking like you the wingman. Something is not mentally right with you. So for you to ever come out and keep talking about what men need to do in their life, boo-boo, you gotta settle. You always settled. You like these modern women out here. You settle. So you don't need to be trying to get no men, no advice, because they men ain't gonna never settle. Women ain't gonna never settle. But men that have no values about themselves and women that don't have no values about themselves are gonna always be together. And that's you and your wife. But until then, I got some more men to hold accountable. So they say men. I mean, Dr. Umar, I know it's been a while, but I got you too.